Girls of Reddit, what is the creepiest thing a man has said to you in public? You don't look 13. I want your number. I was in Paris at a Christmas market and a guy came up to me and told me I was very beautiful. Before I could say anything back, he said, "You know, I've been following you for a while and saw your friends walk away from you. I could kidnap you so quick. They would never see you again." Then he laughs, and my friend, who was only like 8 feet away and heard this exchange, pulls my arm and we start fast walking away. We cut down so many alleys, popped in and out of shops, and got on different trains since it was nearly impossible to know if he was still following us. There were 3 of us, and while we really have no idea if he had actually been following us for a while, we assume he had been around long enough to know we spoke English, since he didn't approach me speaking French. You have all your teeth. I like that. I was waiting for the bus. I was walking down the street toward a bar to meet some friends one night. A man drove by me once, then turned his car around and drove ahead of me and parked up the street. He walked toward me on the sidewalk. Then when he reached me, turned completely around to walk beside me. At first he tried to be friendly and suggestive when I wouldn't respond, and tried to walk faster to get to the bar. He told me he was going to put me in his car and take me to a special place. I started to run around a corner. He ducked behind the building there and cut me off ahead. I ran full speed across a busy street to the nearest CVS, which was open 24 hours, and called my boyfriend, who sped over to pick me up. When we walked outside, the man was waiting by the exit with his front and rear car doors open, like he was waiting to force me into his back seat. When I was 10 years old, I was walking to school alone and a man walked right up to me and said, "Excuse me, can I lick your pussy?" He then laughed at me and walked away. My dad had to pay some teenagers to walk with me to school after that. I was once stalked by a man who worked in the store that was next to mine, and he had told me that he made his Skyrim character to look like me. I got followed through Walmart and the guy kept passing by me, and every time he would whisper, "God, you're asterisk so beautiful. I love you." Edit. Spelling. I was 14, out shopping at an Aeropostale when these 2 dudes approached me. They had to be in their mid to late 20s. They followed me around the store and kept asking me to try on the miniskirt I had picked out, asked me where I lived, my name, and just generally kept following and harassing me. I was super freaked out, hoping that my mom and brother would come back to the store soon to get me out of there. I was in Walmart and some creepy guy came up to me and my sister and pointed at his junk in sweatpants, clearly not wearing underwear, and asked if we wanted to touch it. Now I refused to go to Walmart. I worked at a truck stop and needed a driver to sign something, but didn't have a pen. He was a super gross old fat guy, missing quite a bit of teeth. He said that I could borrow his pen, but then I'd have to get in his truck with "Hi monsieur." He was going to lock the doors and I wasn't allowed to get out. I recoiled in horror as he gave me the most disturbing smile. The thought of raping me and telling me about the fantasy truly made his day. Screaming across a parking lot as I get into my car, "You'd be lucky if I raped you. Bitches love me." Quote. I peeled out as fast as I could. Was walking with my friend and a random dude said to her, "Hey cutie, I like the way you walk." When we ignored him, he said, "I see how it is. We're high school kids, barely 5 feet tall." He followed us for 2 blocks before we made it to a crowded crosswalk. Oh no. When I was 13, a guy grabbed me by the wrist and he said, "Hey sexy, wanna come with me so I can show you something? I love bad girls like you." I was so stupid that I was still worried about being rude and apologized to him for saying no, but when he tried to fully grab my arm I just ran. Not so much what was said at first, but the insistence and continuing to walk with me on my route for like 20 minutes. That I must save his email address. Words alone are creepy on occasion, but it's the absolute worst when there's an element of being trapped. I was waiting for the train and had my hair in pigtails. Guy in his mid-30s came to me and asked what high school I went to. I told him I didn't go to high school. I was about 26-ish at the time. He looked real disappointed and walked away. Wasn't really creepy until you think about the fact that he wanted me to be in high school and was disappointed that I was not underage. A homeless guy once told me he wanted to throw me in a bathtub full of Jell-O and make love to me. Edit. I laughed really hard when this happened. Who knew I'd get so much mileage out of it 20 years later? I was in 6th grade and had 3 boys discuss my breasts in front of me like I wasn't there. The first boy said I stuffed my bra. The second one came up and explained to him how he could know that I didn't. The third joined in the explanation of real versus fake, like they were looking at a painting on a wall while I sat there flabbergasted at being noticed in that way. I was 17 and cleaning a window at work. On one knee. Guy, in front of his approximately 8. Yo son, you like being on your knees? Quote. It happens a lot more the younger women are. Creepy guys know that the older we are, the less likely we are to stand for that shit. So if you're young who gives a shit about being polite, give them a curled lip, raised eyebrow and a well-placed ew, and watch their faces fall. You're gonna get spanking, in a sing-song tone. I was working at a mom-and-pop burger joint and made a silly mistake. I was 19 at the time. The dude in question was 60-70ths. When I got embarrassed, he acted proud of himself and stated, "Look how red she's turning." Quote. Had an older man ask me to stir his mixed drink with my finger to make it sweeter. This was at a fancy-ish dinner party my family attended. I was 13. This guy was around 50. He went on to make a joke about me eating a sucker later on. Something about blowing pop. Still makes me nauseous after 20 years. You don't get a view like that every day. Quote. I was 10, and bending down to get something off a lower shelf at the grocery store. I was wearing a new lower-cut shirt but forgot to wear my training bra that day. The guy was mid-40s probably. His wife was with him. She looked like she was about to cry. I never wore that shirt again. Edit. Wow, this blew up while I was away. For those saying it's not possible for my chest to develop that quickly, my parents shouldn't have let me out in that shirt. The shirt was from Limited too. My breasts weren't actually that developed. Hence training bra. This guy was just a pervert. I did tell my dad after we left the store. He told me what the guy did was sick and wrong, and that next time something like that happened, tell him immediately.